Hi everybody, Corinne Smith here, addressing the fans of Henry David Thoreau and especially members of the Thoreau Society. Because today I'm going to talk about the proposed merger of the Thoreau Society with Thoreau Farm Trust. As you can see by the title of this video, I am adamantly opposed to this merger. Adamantly opposed. I'm angry. In fact, I am livid. I will tell you why. I speak here as a longtime member of the Society, and the information that I share with you today is freely available to the organization's members and to the general public. So if you're not into Henry as much as the rest of us are, you can pass on this video. Feel free to stick around in case you just want to hear about the issue and what's going on. First of all, Thoreau Society members, you got an email on August 3rd with information about the proposed merger and a link for feedback. I encourage you to click on that link in case you haven't already done so. We'll talk about the second email later on. So here's some background generally in case you don't know. The Thoreau Society was founded in 1941. And it's said to be the oldest and possibly the largest group associated with any American author. It produces 4 newsletters each year, 1 scholarly journal each year. It operates a gift shop and a bookstore at Walden Pond State Reservation in Concord, Massachusetts. And its big deal is a 4.5-day conference every July called the Annual Gathering, or the AG for short, which is held in Concord. With walks and talks and all kinds of networking opportunities and possibilities, people come from all around the country, people come from all around the world to attend the AG. More of the history of the Thoreau Society can be found in parts of the book from 2004, Walden Pond, A History by Barksdale Maynard. Excellent read. The Thoreau Farm Trust manages the house that Henry David Thoreau was born in 1817. It's located on Virginia Road in Concord. Thoreau's birth house came late to the party as far as the historical homes in Concord go, like the Emerson House and Louisa May Alcott's house and the Old Manse by the North Bridge. See, everybody knew that this particular house was the house that Thoreau was born in, but other people owned it and lived in it until 1995. In 1999, a group of local residents began the Thoreau Farm Trust in order to save the building and to have historical renovation performed upon it. The details of this effort can be found in Lucille Stott's book from 2018, Saving Thoreau's Birthplace, How Citizens Rallied to Bring Henry Out of the Woods. Excellent read. House opened to the public in 2010. It's usually open for free house tours during the weekends from spring through fall. It has additional room for offices, so actually the Thoreau Society has its offices in part of the Thoreau Farm. Again, much more of the story can be found in Lucille's book. I have been a member of the Thoreau Society for more than 25 years. I served on its board of directors for a 3-year stint about 20 years ago. I also have worked for both organizations. I used to write for the Thoreau Farm blog. You can still find it on the website. Again, I want to stress the fact that I am posting my opinions and concerns here as a longtime Society member. Now, in the spring of 2024, the longtime executive director of the Thoreau Society resigned. The board of directors decided to name as interim director Rebecca Migdal, who is also the executive director of Thoreau Farm Trust. So she serves part-time in each role. I think it's beyond the scope of one person to manage both jobs, but all right for now. Evidently, talks soon began to propose a merger of these two organizations instead of finding a new director for the Thoreau Society. This spring, in 2025, the Society started asking members what they thought of this idea. We had 2 Zoom calls, several in-person meetings during the annual gathering, and a lengthy FAQ document, and lots of other information was posted on the Thoreau Society website. I have posted the link to this document and other things that I'll mention in the description box below. I encourage you to read every word of it. Eventually, the Thoreau Society membership will be asked to vote on the proposal. At least That's what we have been led to believe. It's not supposed to already be a done deal, although many people get the impression that it is, the way the committee and the two boards have been behaving. Generally, the plan is to move the two organizations together under a brand new name. What would that name be? Nobody knows. Haven't come up with it yet. See, one of the presumed issues here is that there are a number of groups in Concord that deal with Thoreau and with Walden. We have the Thoreau Society, we have Thoreau Farm Trust, we have the Walden Woods Project, the Transcendental Council of First Parish Church, we have Walden Pond State Reservation. All of them hold programs that can be Thoreau and Walden related, and outsiders can get confused about which group does what. But guess what? If you merge these two groups under another name, then you're compounding the confusion, aren't you? You're introducing another entity in the field and not subtracting two. This logic doesn't make sense to me. The merger seems to be offering solutions to problems that do not exist. Both groups are financially solvent. They've told us this. In fact, the executive director said that very little money would be saved by combining the two. Well, then why do it? During the Zooms and the in-person discussions this year, emphasis tended to fall on programs. If the two groups merged, people said, we could have more programs, we could attract more people, we could attract more members. Well, both groups already collaborate on programs held throughout the year. They're under the heading of the Right Connection, WRITE, and they're usually held in the parlor of the birthhouse. Authors and scholars come and speak, and they often sign their books. The Thoreau Farm board members generally run the programs. A society person usually runs the camera and takes care of the online work for the online components. But this space is limited. I think the fire code limits the room capacity to 30 people. And parking at the birthhouse is limited too. When we had a big event there in 2017 to celebrate Henry Thoreau's 200th birthday, we had to rent buses to bring people in from downtown Concord. There wasn't enough room at the farm or in the adjacent neighborhood to handle all of the traffic. So again, this logic doesn't make sense to me. Just by merging the two groups, you're magically going to hold more and bigger programs and increase accessibility? Really? Within that same limited space? With that same limited parking? I can't understand why or how. In fact, I maintain that these two organizations are quite different, with different setups, different focuses, different audiences. I want to address these differences here. I want to talk about the society history and the society logo. I will offer a counter proposal to the merger, and I will provide a call to action to let you know what you can do as members of the Thoreau Society. So, differences. One point that I hear is that the two groups have similar missions and overlapping audiences. I don't believe the overlap is as great as people think. All you have to do is to hang out in both spaces. Go to an annual gathering of the Thoreau Society. Visit Thoreau Farm on an open weekend or even during a Right Connection program. The society people will want to dive deep into everything about Henry. Many of them are interested in every aspect of his life and his writings. They've studied him for a while. They've been hooked on Henry since high school or college when they first read Walden. So this is a lifelong endeavor and commitment for many people. It matters. It's personal. They're passionate about Henry, and they feed off the community energy that the society offers, even if they never come to Concord themselves. The people who visit Thoreau Farm are somewhat interested in the Thoreau story. They probably visited the other historic homes in the area. They probably know some Concord history. Many are also more intrigued by the historical renovation. The house itself has a compelling history. It's a 2/2. It's a 2/2. It was built in 1730 on the historic register. It's called the Wheeler Minot House because those were the first owners. It was moved intact 300 yards east in 1878. Actually, the Thoreau family lived in the house for only about 8 months after Henry was born. They moved around a lot. They lived in about a dozen homes during his lifetime. So This is the only surviving house that Thoreau lived in that is open to the public. Okay, visitors to the house may decide to become members of the become donors to Thoreau Farm Trust. Many of them will not likely be going so far as to join the society. They may appreciate the fact that there is a Thoreau Society, but they don't want to automatically join it. At the same time, I think Thoreau Society members are pleased that the birth house has been saved and is open for tours, and they might go there once or twice if they have the chance. But if they live away and they come to Concord to visit and they want to get a Thoreau connection right away, they're probably more likely to go to Walden Pond right off the bat. And the Thoreau Society happens to have a shop there. The FAQ document that has a last page that compares the two organizations. Again, I encourage you to look at this. And it lists the Thoreau Society as having 773 current members and 888 active donors. Now, I assume that those members overlap. So, and that they don't add up together. So maybe we could average that Thoreau Society membership donor base to about 850 people, okay? According to this, Thoreau Farm does not have members, it has donors. It has 234 donors, according to that. Now, during one of the merger talks at the AG, we were told that when you compare these two populations, the two databases, there are people who give to both, like a Venn diagram, okay, of two overlapping circles. And how many people are in that little slice in the middle, the overlap? How many people give to both? 50. Just 50. For Thoreau Farm, that's about 25% of their donor base. For the society, that's 5% of their membership. Only 5%. So the overwhelming majority of supporters of these organizations, the remaining 1,000 people, have already chosen the group that they want their dollars to go with. They don't give to both. So what would happen if you merge the two groups and now you expect those 1,000 people to be happy to send their dollars to support both groups when they choose not to do this already? Again, I don't understand this logic. 50 is such a low number. To me, it's a deal breaker. To me, it seems as though the people have already voted with their wallets. What happens if people turn away from both because they really only identify with one or the other, and then you lose members and donors instead as a result of the merger? What happens then? Let's move on to the history of the Thoreau Society. When I consider the long history and the traditions of the Thoreau Society, I think it would be an insult to all past Thoreauvians to change the name and the integrity of the organization that they, our mentors, worked so diligently to keep going year after year. A merger would be a disservice to everyone who worked long and hard to make the society a success, often with little or no pay. I think of Walter Harding specifically, who served as the secretary and the editor of the Thoreau Society Bulletin for 50 years. I think of Ed Schofield, and when he served as society president, he added the position of executive director to give a local view to the organization. He expanded the annual gathering from a one-day event with just 2 speakers to a multi-day gathering that features as many voices as could fit into the schedule. These people, and others like Mary Sherwood, devoted huge chunks of their lives into promoting Thoreau, and they made the Thoreau Society into the kind of organization that it is today. And we're just going to erase all that? No. To consider a merger that would change the dynamics and even the name of the organization is unthinkable to me. Change the Thoreau Society into something else? Absolutely not. We might as well slap the faces of every Thoreau scholar and devotee who worked hard to keep this group going and active over the last 80 years. So just no. Evidently, even the Thoreau Society logo will be on the chopping block if the merger happens to take place. Please don't touch this image. It's a strong logo. It's Thoreau's Walden House paired with the name and founding date of the organization. It's solid, and yet it's a quiet promotion at the same time. I think it became our official logo fewer than 20 years ago, but it's been on the banner of the Thoreau Society bulletin up in the corner there since at least the mid-90s. The Walden House is the most identifiable tag that you can adhere to Henry David Thoreau to the public. People get the connection immediately. Sure, Henry was a lot more than just this house. This is just the beginning, but you can grab folks with it first, and then you can feed them the rest afterward. I know that the Thoreau Society shop at Walden Pond carries more than 40 pieces of merchandise with this logo on it. It's on the back of every t-shirt. It generates revenue even for people who aren't society members. They buy stuff with this logo on it. Not only is the house a reminder of what Thoreau is most known for, the picture can also quietly take us back to the early days of the society. 80 years ago, on Friday, July 4th, 1945, 100 members of the then relatively new Thoreau Society held their 4th annual meeting in Concord. They came together, not at First Parish Church, as was their habit, but instead at the site of the memorial cairn at Thoreau's Cove at Walden Pond, which I have a picture of. Yes, at the memorial cairn. I'll put it over here, at the memorial cairn. And members of the crowd wondered, this is supposed to mark where Henry's house was at Walden. Members of the crowd wondered if Bronson Alcott, back in 1872, had actually led Mary Newberry Adams to the right spot so that she could place the first stone and begin the cairn. Was this the right spot? Was this where his house was? Member Roland Robbins heard this question and ran with it and was inspired to launch his first amateur archaeological dig. And once he found the chimney foundation and figured out the cabin footprint, the society considered options for marking the spot. So 3 years later, they made the arrangements to install the 9 granite posts that outline the house footprint, and Ruth Wheeler, mother of our good friend Joe Wheeler, donated small boulders from the original Thoreau Farm property so that they could be logged over there to the location of the fireplace marker within that footprint. One was carved with Thoreau's poetic line, "Go thou my incense up from this hearth." Go thou my incense from this hearth. So this brand represents the early history of the society, and it pays homage to where Thoreau was born. It's perfect the way it is. I don't believe we should allow an outside branding and marketing expert to throw it away. And yet, item number 11 on the FAQs document says, we anticipate engaging a design and communications consulting team to help shape how a new merged organization is named, introduced, and presented publicly. Public input will be part of this process. We have already acquired some funding to support this part of the process. What? This angers me greatly. We have a good thing going here. Why do you want to change it? And who authorized you to get funding for a design and communications consulting team? We haven't voted on this merger yet, and you're already getting funding for it. This angers me greatly. And I knew I had to make this video. I did dawdle for a little bit of time. And then my anger turned to outrage when we got the Thoreau Society email of August 24th. And be sure to read it. There is a feedback link on it too. And so it says, that the open forums were a wonderful opportunity to hear from people. Largely supportive feedback from sessions can encourage them to take the next step. We have been awarded a $20,000 500 matching grant from the Lodestar Foundation to pay for professional consultants experienced in combining nonprofit organizations. We are excited by the prospect of working with Caravan brand partners. What? We haven't voted on this merger yet. The grant comes with a September 1, 2025 deadline to secure pledges to meet the match. They've already raised some money, but they have to raise the last $10,000. They're asking for our help. I don't think so. We members still have not given you permission to combine these nonprofit organizations. No. Just no. Why do you keep moving on this? And is any of this crap being done in the spirit of Henry David Thoreau? It seems unlikely, doesn't it? In fact, all of these machinations are about as anti-Thoreauvian as you can get. We are the caretakers of Thoreau's legacy. Yeah, it's a nonprofit organization. It has to operate as one. It's doing fine. It's financially solvent. Let it alone. So it's easy enough to be critical. Let me also be helpful. Let me offer a possible and better solution. Here's my counter proposal to the merger. Let's keep both separate. Let's keep both separate the way they are now, with separate boards and with separate executive directors. Yes, society board, hunker down, search for a new executive director. It can be part-time. No person should have to handle operating both groups, managing both groups. That's a recipe for burnout, quick burnout. And people say that they want more programs. Well, hey, let's simplify. Hire one full-time program director that serves both groups, that's shared by both groups. This person could take care of the Right Connection series, which is sponsored by both. They could take care of, they could initiate new and special events for the farm, perhaps with an eye towards sustainability, agriculture. For the society, they could plan and manage the AG and the Thoreau Prize events. They could even staff the new reading room in the second parlor of the birth house. Just adding this one shared person would relieve some of the program responsibilities and pressure on the current executive director, interim director, and the membership coordinator. They're the ones who are now saddled with most of this extra work. So, get a new executive director for the society, part-time, hire a shared program director. Try it out for a year, see what happens. No need for intricate legalities, no need for name changes, for brand changes, for new board configurations, for highly paid nonprofit consultants. No need for member votes. Add 2 people, let everything else alone, and analyze the results. And that is my counter proposal. And hey, if you've got that $20,000 hanging around, imagine what good you could do with it. You could run magnificent programs with it. If you hired a shared program director, start their salary with that chunk of cash. It's been 1.5 years since the Thoreau Society had a permanent executive director. In the meantime, these folks have been playing around with this merger proposal, all of its legal ramifications, wasting precious time and money, and for what? What if it turns out the membership vote, after all of these months of effort, is wasted? What if the vote doesn't go in favor of the merger? Guess what? You're going to have to go back and find a director and get a program person anyway. Exactly the tasks you have been avoiding to do. You've already lost more than 1.5 years. How much more time are we going to waste here? You keep insisting that this merger is not a done deal. Then why are you spending so much time and money on it? Why has the former society director's office already been emptied and repurposed? When the society does hire a new director, where will that person go? There doesn't seem to be any more room left for them at Thoreau Farm. Will you have to rent office space somewhere else? We'll see. I'm not going to worry about how many people vote for the merger. It's like any other election. What worries me most are the people in the middle who may not vote at all because they don't think they have enough information. If that description fits you, then please read the FAQs, read the links, the things that are in the links below. Go to either one of those emails from August 3rd or August 24th. There's a feedback link. Don't click on the donation link for that $20,000 consultant. Provide feedback, ask questions, demand answers. If you can't find any of those things, then just send an email to info@thoreausociety.org, info@thoreausociety.org, or write a letter to the Thoreau Society, 341 Virginia Road, Concord, Mass. 01742. Contact the board members with your concerns. Their names are listed on the back of the bulletin, and the academics are pretty easy to find online. Whenever we get messages about the potential merger, the committee says, "This is exciting time." No, it's not. It's a terrifying time. It's a time of turmoil. It's a time of political unrest and economic uncertainty, and this merger seems like the kind of efficiency strategies that departments in our federal government are currently undertaking, the ones that aren't working. And just like that larger view, this proposal has the potential to divide us into two camps: people who support the merger, people who don't. What happens to any folks whose votes don't go the winning way? Will they still stick around? Guess we'll find out. We have enough upheaval in our daily lives right now. We don't need to add this issue to the mix. The Thoreau Society is something special. It's a community. It means something to be a member. It's a feeling, it's an emotion. It's not the same as giving money to keep a historic home up and running and giving programs. It's something much more. It's almost a badge of honor. The Thoreau Society board members and administration seem not to understand this somehow, and some of them have been around for a while. So please stop messing with this organization. What would Walter Harding and Ed Schofield and Mary Sherwood say? Are we acting in the spirit of our friend Henry? I'm happy to talk more about this issue. If anybody wants to talk, you probably know where to find me. Keep in mind that my mind is made up and I will not move from this position, so don't set out to persuade me otherwise. I'm Corinne Smith. Thanks for listening. Thoreau Society members, you know what to do. Provide feedback, provide information, go find the information, think about it, provide feedback, go do it. Thank you for your kind attention to this matter.